welcome back, my fairies. I am Matsuorific, and we are back to discuss the Senti-Adrian theory. Now, those of you who've been around this channel for a while know that I've never been a fan of the Senti-Adrian theory, and was very upset when we got that one scene in Season 5 where Gabriel forbids Adrien from being able to kiss Marinette from afar, and Adrien behaves like a Sentimonster, which was supposed to be proof that Adrien is a senti being. And yeah, you guys remember how upset I was about that. But then we got episode 24, and I just have to say,
Dear Princess Celestia, I didn't learn anything. I was right all along.
now I've seen a lot of people that have been confused by this, wondering if Adrien is actually a Sentimonster, if he's not, how exactly this works. And I just wanted to take a moment to break everything down and confirm that no, Adrien is not a traditional Sentimonster. Keyword traditional. He and Felix are not Sentimonsters in the same sense that all the other Sentimonsters that we've seen in the past are. They are not the same as those beings, because they are hybrids. And in order to explain that, let's take a moment to actually go through what actually happened. So in episode 24, we get this flashback backstory that Felix projects into Marinette's mind using a Sentimonster, which tells the story of two princesses. Now, we know from a previous episode that Amelie and Emily weren't actually princesses. Their parents were wealthy, I think they were like businessmen or something along those lines, or politicians. It was something along those lines, but they weren't actually princesses. But the story treats them as princesses basically because, you know, society would treat them as princesses. So in the context of the story, they are princesses. The younger princess is, of course, Amelie, with the older princess being Emily. The king and queen in the story have two princesses and name who are twins, and name the eldest twin, Emily, as heir to the throne, or as in next in line to inherit their business. And Emily and Amelie grow up living basically each other's lives. Emily has no interest in being royal or inheriting the family business, whereas Amelie actually is interested in that. She studies business and politics and all that stuff, whereas Emily just wants to be free to go out and explore the world. So in terms of royalty and princesses, Emily basically abdicates the throne and gives that to her younger sister so that she can go off and explore the world. And while she's out exploring, she meets Gabriel, who is the tailor in the episode. And we see that Gabriel used to be just like Marinette in that he actually believed that fashion was, used as a form of expression to allow people to express who they truly are and to make people happy, which is how Marinette described fashion when she was arguing against Gabriel before. And then Gabriel is like, no, it's whatever I tell people to wear. That's what fashion is. So somewhere along the way, his views got warped and distorted. Which is further confirmation that he is no longer the man that Emily fell in love with. But at the time, he was an idealist, and Emily fell in love with him, and they got married. And since Amelie was now next in line to inherit the family business or the throne, that her parents marry her off to Colt Fathom, who is the war general, whatever it was that they called him. I'm just gonna call him Colt. I'm not even gonna do the thing. But unfortunately, Amelie and Emily are both unable to have children But then one day, Emily is miraculously able to have a child. She gets pregnant one day. And that's when Colt goes up to Gabriel and says, "How dare you? How dare you have a baby when we can't conceive? We're the ones who should be having a child, not you. How dare you?" Basically going full Karen, full entitled aunt. How dare you have a kid when we can't have a kid when we're infertile? We've been trying for months, and how dare you? Yeah, that's a tried and true one, already told story. But Gabriel then goes to Emily and says, "Hey, listen, your sister's also having trouble conceiving, so would it be okay if I give him the ability to get his wife pregnant?" And she says yes. So he goes to Colt and hands him the Peacock Miraculous, which then Colt says, "Oh, that's sorcery. But if this will allow me to have a baby with my wife, then okay, guess I'll go ahead and use it." And in those moments, they also show the peacock imagery in the background for both Amelie and Emily being pregnant, which tells us that Emily is also pregnant because of the Peacock Miraculous. And here is where a lot of people like to debate that they just put a Senti-Monster into their wombs that would eventually grow and they would have a baby. But here's my thing. And I'm sure pretty much every woman out there would agree with me, especially women who have gone through pregnancy. Granted, I've not gone through that, but I know enough about it to know that it is not a pleasant experience. 9 months of pure torture. You're constantly sick all the time. Your feet hurt, your back hurts, everything hurts. And then when you have to go through labor, which can take sometimes hours, sometimes days to complete. And obviously money's not a problem for Amelie and Emily because their families are wealthy, and at this point they're living in the mansion, so Gabriel is already well enough off to be able to provide for any financial needs they might have, but it's also expensive. But aside from the expense, it is a very uncomfortable experience. And if they were just going to create a baby, why bother going through the pregnancy? It's like, just create a baby. It's like, there's no reason not to just create a baby, but instead they created a Senti-Monster that would impregnate Amelie and Emily. Another clue towards this is Adrien and Felix's appearance. The fact that they are identical to their mothers. If you were to create a child, normally a child who is born naturally inherits features from both of their parents. But Adrien and Felix don't have any traits from Gabriel or Colt. They look identical to their mothers, who are identical twins, and that's why Adrien and Felix are identical. That is another hint right there that they are not true blue Senti-Monsters. They are hybrids. They do not have DNA from their fathers because there is no DNA. Because since their fathers do not have any physical, biological DNA that they can pass on to their children, the mothers are the only ones passing on DNA. In a sense, it's kind of like cloning. Obviously, they're not clones of their mothers because they're born naturally, but it's kind of like how if you clone somebody and you only use one person's DNA, you get an identical lookalike of that person. And that is why Adrien and Felix look like their mothers, because they don't have any other DNA to draw traits from aside from their mothers. So all of their traits come from their mothers. And that right there is another sign as to them not being your typical Senti-Monsters because it's whatever you want them to look like. Why would they create their child specifically to look like one adult when it's natural for a child to look like both parents? If they were putting that much thought into creating their child, then they would say, okay, yeah, we're just gonna have this happen. But instead, what actually happened is that they created Senti-Monsters that impregnate Emily and Amelie. Using biological terms here, the Senti-Monster fertilized the egg inside of the womb, which then developed into a baby, which was then born. But because the magic of the Peacock Miraculous is what allowed them to be born in the first place, they are still bound to the power of the miraculous. Now, it's unclear if there are still feathers inside of those objects or not. It would make sense considering the fact that, if the rings themselves allow people to control them, then it would make sense that that's where the amok would still be. But we have other bits of evidence to look at besides just this episode. So one of the episodes that I have always referred to when disputing the Senti-Adrian theory was Chat Blanc. And in that episode, we see Chat Noir get akumatized into Chat Blanc, and then he does a mega cataclysm the size of a planet and just destroys everything. And we also see that Hawkmoth is there as well, and he has been destroyed. He's been affected by the mega cataclysm. And yet, nothing is happening to Chat Blanc. If he was a traditional Senti being, if he was a traditional Senti-Monster, then why did nothing happen to him when half of his amok is gone? And all of the buildings were destroyed. So you cannot tell me that this mega cataclysm didn't affect all of Paris. It reached all the way up to the moon and split the moon in half. And everybody in Paris is dead. How would Emily, who has the ring on her, how would she have survived that? How would she not have the same effect on her? And therefore, how would the other ring not be affected? Both rings would have been destroyed in that mega cataclysm, which means that Chat Blanc, if he was a traditional Senti-Monster, would have gone poof. He would have poofed. And that would have been it. And then there would have been nothing for her to do. The Kuma would be gone. It's like there would be nothing for Ladybug to fix. Well, I mean, there's obviously stuff for her to fix, but there'd be no one for her to fight to get the Akuma so that she can purify it and use Miraculous Ladybug to fix everything. Now, another example of this, which is another one that I've always gone back to, is Miracular, where when Miracular took Cat Noir's Cataclysm power, she cataclysmed him, but he did not react like a Senti-Monster does when they get cataclysmed. Now, there are some people that will point to a tweet that Thomas Astruc made about what happens when you cataclysm a person, and he also made another tweet about if a Senti-Monster was created to be human, then they would basically be human. But that's still not entirely the case. We've seen a couple of instances of Senti-Monsters that were made to be human, but they still acted like Senti-Monsters. The biggest example would be Sentibug, the Senti-Monster Ladybug that Mayura created herself. And even though she still had some humanistic traits, she looked like she was actually feeling regret over the fact that she helped Mayura to deceive them, she still had to do whatever it was somebody told her to do. And even though Ladybug gives her back the charm, she has a line that is very telling. When Ladybug tells them, what their plan is, she's like, "Whatever you say, Ladybug." She's still following orders. She's still not free thinking. It's like, yes, she's choosing to help them, but Ladybug was also the last person to hold on to the charm. So she's still not, she still doesn't express the same range of emotions in that moment as Adrien does. And when we see the Senti Bubbler, he is the same way. Ladybug gets the cup back. She tells him to bring everything down. He's like, "Whatever you say, lady dude," and brings everybody back down. The fact that they don't really show as much emotion as a human being as Adrien does. Adrien shows so much more emotion than they do, which tells me that he is human, but he's still affected by the magic of the miraculous that helped to give birth to him. We've seen so many things of Sentimonsters that, yes, they will act human, but they still aren't fully human. They don't act as human as Adrien and Felix do. Felix, yes, he did everything that his father told him to do, but he questioned it. He felt anger towards his father. He felt hurt that his father abused him in that way. And he felt hatred towards him for treating him the way that he did. The Sentimonsters don't act like they hate Mayura or Shadow Moth. They don't act like they have any particular feelings one way or another. Yes, Sentibug acts like she's hurt, or like she's sad that she attacked them, but at that point, Ladybug is already holding on to the charm that with the amok in it. Ladybug is already in possession with the amok. So Ladybug would be influencing Sentibug at that point. And aside from Cat Noir, every other Senti being that we have seen throughout the series has gone berserk when getting cataclysmed. But Cat Noir did not. Now, some people will point to that tweet that Asterix put out that, oh, well, if these suits saved him. But the effects that Cat Noir received from getting cataclysmed match with what we see from Monarch. Monarch got cataclysmed, and he was able to get away, and he still retains the use of his arm, but his arm is still injured. Cat Noir had injured ribs because that's where he got cataclysmed. He acted the same way that Gabriel acted after getting cataclysmed. It took Gabriel a long time, the entire season, for the cataclysm to finally catch up to him to the point where, yeah, his life is in danger. But in that moment where he got cataclysmed, his life wasn't immediately in danger. It's the exact same effect. So, if the suits were protecting them, I could see that, from getting completely cataclysmed. But if Cat Noir is a Sentimonster, then there would still be an additional effect, because that's what happens when a Sentimonster gets cataclysmed. They go berserk. But Cat Noir retained all of his sanity. If the suit was partially protecting them, obviously the suit can't fully protect them because Cat Noir was still injured, And Gabriel still has this ongoing cataclysm damage that's spreading throughout his entire body and is messing with his heart. The suit doesn't fully protect them. So why? That is my question. Why did he not lose any amount of sanity? If the suit protected him, it's still not 100% accurate. It can't 100% protect him, so why did he not lose any sanity? If the suit is going to partially protect him, I could see why he might lose a little bit of sanity. If it's like 50% protection, then he should go 50% insane and out of control. But no, he did not lose control. He was fully in control of himself, which tells us that he is not a sentient being. He is a hybrid. He is a mix of magic and biology. Adrien and Felix are not Senti-Monsters. They are Senti-babies. They are the hybrid children of a Senti-monster and a human. Now, I do want to address one last criticism that I've seen towards me calling them hybrids, and that is the fact that Thomas Astruc has come out to say that, oh, well, if a Senti-monster is created to be human, then they're created to be then they are 100% human. And to that I ask you, do you really believe everything that Thomas Astruc posts on Twitter? You're really going to sit here and tell me that there is no criticism that can be held towards Miraculous Ladybug without being sexist and mad because the girl is the leader? You're going to sit here and tell me that Chloe's mother constantly calling her outside of her name with the intention of belittling her and showing her that she is nothing to her mother is not abuse? You're gonna sit here and tell me that Markov is no more sophisticated than a microwave with a camera, and that's the reason why he can't tell that Ladybug and Cat Noir are Marinette and Adrien, and not the fact that Max is just a teenager who doesn't have access to the same resources that a wealthy genius adult in America has access to. And that's why Aeon can see through them. You're gonna tell me that you're gonna sit here and believe every single thing that that man says 100% accurate when he has already shown that he is absolutely full of it when he posts on Twitter. Yeah, think about who you're quoting here. Thomas Astruc, the man who tells fans that he is still 100% on the team of writers when it's been announced by Zag, by the company, that as of season 4, Thomas Astruc is being less involved with the show, and as of season 6 will not be involved with the show anymore. He straight up lies, you guys. If he sees that fans are getting close to piecing together clues that are put together in the show, he doesn't take pride in the fact that, oh, this means that this is actually a well-written show, and hey, we're actually providing these clues for fans to piece together because that's what a well-written show does. Instead, he gets mad that we start piecing things together and decides to gaslight us and say, no, you guys are stupid, that's not what's happening, even though that's exactly what's happening. He does this all the time, you guys. It's Thomas Astruc. You can't take everything he says 100% fact. You have to take everything he says with a grain of salt, because he lies. He has been proven to lie on multiple occasions. There have been multiple plot points in the past where fans have asked him about that turned out to be true, that he tries to trick you into thinking is not true. He doesn't like people predicting things that are going to happen in the show because he's petty. He is a child. He is a man baby. You guys, we have to take everything he says with a grain of salt. If the show itself contradicts something that a creator says online, you go by what the show says because that is what is canon. And looking at the canon that we have in the show's canon says that Adrien is not a senti being. He is a hybrid. And that is where I'm going to go ahead and end things for today. So, I hope you guys look forward to my review of the finale next week. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed this video and want to see next week's finale reviews, be sure to leave a like, comment down below, and subscribe for more videos from me. We do all sorts of fun stuff on this channel, including playing video games, we do art, and I'll sometimes talk about cartoons and anime. So if you enjoy this stuff, then be sure to ring that bell icon to never miss a video. Thank you guys for watching, and as always, I hope you all have a very magical day.